welcome back to my Hypermotard channel. Wanted to introduce Mr. Rambo here. He loves being on camera. I thought I'd introduce him. Maybe he'll be with me on my future videos. We'll see. But yeah, check him out. He woke up and now he needs to go back to sleep. So I'm going to put him back to sleep. I'm going to come out. We're going to talk about some stuff. Alright guys, so I just put Rambo back to sleep. Mr. Rambo, his life is kind of cool. He wakes up, then he goes back to sleep. So anyway, that's his life. But mine's a little bit more exciting than that. But anyway, what I want to talk to you guys about is, do you guys ever feel like you're tense, you're sore after you ride, you get headaches, you get shoulder, arm pain, maybe hip pain, knee? You're just like a wreck. You feel like you got out of an aerobics class after like a simple 1 hour ride. You want to know what that is? Well, I can tell you from my personal experience. I mean, I'm not an expert. I mean, I have ridden and my past experience in dirt bikes, motocross, things like that. But it has, I can tell you from experience that bike setup is absolutely huge as far as suspension, you know, where you put your levers, as far as even your body position. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's like sitting behind a desk where your neck is like killing you, your back is hurting, your shoulders, so you feel tension. And that's all it is body position. So now we're going to bring that to a bike situation. So the goal here is basically to make sure that you feel more comfortable, you have less fatigue, and you just ride smoother and just have more fun. So let's go ahead and start from the head down. So I know that a lot of people like riding with GoPros. I myself ride with a GoPro. I put it right here. I have a chest harness, and it's pretty cool because I don't have to worry about, you know, head and where that thing's going to be. The reason why some people actually put it on their helmets. You know, helmets are made for being aerodynamic. As far as like, you know, you put a helmet in one of those wind tunnels, and you see it's just perfect contour, and that's what they're made for. And now you put something foreign on that helmet, and you know, something like a GoPro sitting out like this. So you're going at a high speed on the freeway, on a highway or whatever, and your head's constantly doing this. So what do you think's happening? The muscles in your neck are tense on one side. The other side's trying to counteract that and trying to overcorrect itself. So believe me, over time, what you're gonna have is a big neck problem. You're gonna really experience a lot of neck issues and shoulder issues, right down to the shoulders. So yeah, GoPro on the head, on the helmet. I don't know. Personally, I mean, that's you can do what you want, but I like it here. I don't have to worry about it, and so it works. It works for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and go down to the shoulders now. When a lot of people ride, your shoulders are like you're rolled over a little bit too, like kind of like a hunched over kind of thing, and that puts a lot of tension on you have these muscles. You know, you have your trapezius, these big triangular muscles on your back, very big muscles. You have your serratus muscles, you know, your rhomboid muscles in the inner part of your neck that are deeper muscles. And those muscles get really, really tight because they're trying to overcompensate for a lack of correct body position. So rolling the shoulders forward, don't do that. Just chill. Just kind of relax and be a little bit more, you know, just more relaxed on your shoulders. And as far as the elbows, don't ride like I used to, motocross style, which is like waiting, you know, like this, that's an aggressive riding style. You're waiting for the next bump, next obstacle, whoops, jumps, and that's typical motocross style. You ride like this. On a street bike, you tend to ride a little bit more relaxed, elbows kind of down like this. It's kind of a different posture as far as like where your back, how your back and hips and all that thing should be. But yeah, don't be so flared out. Just kind of relax your elbows. And then as far as your back, don't roll your back. Don't do this. You know, keep kind of like a tight core and just you know, ride. It's funny because when you say keep a tight core, people think it's like, oh, I got to suck in my abdomen. It's not so much sucking in your abdomen. It's just a little tension on your abdominal muscles, and it tightens up your whole entire rib cage, your core, basically, you know. So, and when you ride like that, it relieves a lot of pressure off your arms, your shoulders, your legs, your hips, everything. So, and it's one of those things. It's kind of like muscle memory. When you go riding, you just have to do it. You have to start off doing it, and then over time, you just remember that your body just remembers to do it. You automatically do it. So as far as keeping your tight core, just it's like muscle memory. After a while, you don't think about it. You just kind of like tense your core up a little bit, and it stabilizes your entire upper body, which is it's really big when it comes to like not being so tired and fatigued afterwards after like a simple half-hour ride, because you're fighting this thing. You shouldn't be fighting this. You should just be gliding the bike, So, okay, so now let's go down to the hips. A lot of people tend to ride with their hips. They get what's called you have these hip flexors that are right here. And if you tend to like try to kind of always levitate your quads, like your foot off the peg, you're going to get severe flexing pain from those hip flexors, and your quadriceps will be sore. So if you're experiencing that, I can tell you that the only reason you're experiencing that is because you're not planting your feet on the pegs. You're more like hovering your feet. You're I don't know. I used to do that too for some reason. Like you just want to be light on the bike. Well, you got to remember, you got to be stable on the bike. So by being light on the bike, all it's doing is creating all this tension up in here. So it really puts a lot of stress on your hip flexors and your quadriceps. As far as from your knees down to your feet, it's just a matter, like I said, it's just planting your feet down, maybe your heels in. And one of the things I've noticed with a lot of riders also is they tend to do this. When you flare your legs out, you're going at a high speed. Now the wind is just blowing your legs out, and what's happening with that is now the counter muscles, same thing as your neck, everything tries to compensate to push them back in. Well, you're going to experience a lot of tension there and a lot of pain afterwards. So one of the simplest ways to deal with that is, like I talked about in my last video, is plant the balls of your feet and just clamp your knees in. That's it. I'm super stable on this bike right now. It's just a matter of where I'm putting my legs and my feet. Let's talk about bike setup. Now that we talked about body positioning, what can you do as far as bike setup? So you see a lot of riders riding with, their clutch up like this or down like this. So what happens imagine when you do this, if you go back to one of my videos, I talked about arm pump, doing this, your blood flow comes this way, but it can't come back because look what you're doing. It's like a hinge, you're just blocking all the blood flow coming back. That forces so much stress on your arms. It's really a lot of stress. And whether it's this or this, I don't understand how people ride like that. I've been on people's bikes where it's literally like you're like, you have to do this to reach hey, you know what? If that's how you like to ride, that's cool. Good for you. But I can tell you it's very, very stressful on your upper body. And I'm sure you're probably one of those people that experiences a lot of pain. It should be a very natural flow. And I'm going to give a suggestion and see if you guys like it or not. Let me know. Comment on down below because I actually want to know. It seems to have worked for me. And one of the things, have you guys ever noticed when when you adjust your mirrors and you're going to go out for the day or whatever, you adjust the mirrors and then you get out on the street and instantly you look and damn, this mirror's not even in the right spot. And then you got to sit there and readjust while you ride. There's a reason for that. When you're in the garage adjusting the mirrors, you're sitting differently than you would riding. You may be sitting forward, you may be sitting back, you're just kind of chilled, more relaxed. So your mirrors are in a different place than you would when you're in a semi-aggressive, not aggressive, semi-aggressive position. So what I tend to do is I get into like a semi-aggressive position where I would be, like on a track or going through canyons or whatever, and that's when I adjust my mirrors. What I do is, and let me know what you guys think about this, but it works for me. It's basically adjustment of the levers and everything like that. And it goes the same way. When you adjust the levers in the garage and then you go riding, it feels like the levers are kind of off still. And same reason. You're either far on the bike, too forward on the bike. You're just not in that semi-aggressive position. So one of the best ways you can do that is get in a semi-aggressive position and don't think about levers, don't think about mirrors or anything. And then just freeze yourself and look at your fingers. Now, when you look at your fingers, your hands, starting from here, should be at this plane. In other words, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. It should be like this. In other words, this should be straight with the levers being straight. So you're just like this. It's this very smooth flow for the blood flow to come back and forth. Your arms just to be chilled and relaxed. So once you do that, you're like, then that's a semi-aggressive position. And then we'll go back to the same thing as, going back to the mirrors, same thing, semi-aggressive, and then look in the mirrors and adjust the mirrors for the highway and things like that. That way you don't have to be adjusting constantly, because when you're riding, you're not relaxed. You're not like way out here. You're actually kind of, semi-aggressive position. That's how we naturally ride, right? Okay. So now that we know about body position and setting up levers, setting up mirrors, now what I'm going to do is talk about a little bit about the suspension, the tires, and other things involved in the bike that's going to make your transition, to being a smoother rider a little bit better.